Guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time that you get to listen to this. Happy new week. We are yet in another new week, the second week of September. I am excited about just the fact that this September is going, man. It's going, and the Lord is being great. He's still being faithful, he's still being gracious, and his goodness is still chasing after me. I do hope that you're having a good time. Thank you so much for following me through as I take us through a chapter a day for the whole Bible. And today we are going to be focusing on Psalms chapter 122, which I'm going to be reading word for word. And then I'm going to share my summary of the chapter and what the Lord has spoken to me in regards to this chapter. It is my prayer and my hope and my honest hope that you will pause this recording and read the chapter for yourself, that you will have engaged with this chapter 122. That way you will have heard from the Lord specifically for the things that the Lord wants to tell you, individually, because I share the things that God has placed in my heart. And most of those times it's something that the Lord has placed in my heart for me, for the space of life that I am at. Anyway, so I hope that you have done that. So let's go ahead and read. I'm going to be reading from the NLT version, and then I will give the summary from there. So let's read. Psalm chapter 122. It's a song for the pilgrims ascending to Jerusalem, a psalm of David. I was glad when they said to me, "Let us go to the house of the Lord." And now here we are, standing inside your gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a well-built city. Its seamless walls cannot be breached. All the tribes of Israel, the Lord's people, make their pilgrimage here. They come to give thanks to the name of the Lord, as the Lord requires of Israel. Here stands the thrones where judgment is given, the thrones of the dynasty of David. Pray for peace in Jerusalem. May all who love this city prosper. O Jerusalem, may there be peace within your walls and prosperity in your palaces. For the sake of my family and friends, I will say, may you have peace. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek what is best for you, O Jerusalem. So, Psalms chapter 122 is the third psalm of ascent. And this means it's a song sung by the Israelites as they walked up the hill to Jerusalem to gather for the feast days. It can be the feast of Passover, the feast of, I've forgotten all the other feasts that these guys used to have. They used to have so many. There was the one for Thanksgiving, because they have had like a really good harvest. And so they were just walking, and these are some of the songs that he was singing. The first part of this psalm celebrates the opportunity to worship the Lord at his house. And that is why the guy is saying, I was so glad when they said, let's go to the house of the Lord and worship. And the second part is an instruction for the people of Israel to pray for Jerusalem, to pray for his peace and the prosperity of those people that love the Lord. I want us to focus on verse 1, which says, I was glad when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. You see, in the days that we are living in, church, the word church in itself evokes different emotions. There are those who have been in church for a very long time. They have served diligently and they have been hurt in churches or by people in churches or the leadership of churches. We have different groups of people who are onlookers and they have just felt that church has become churches have become a business, and they have, just felt like this is just a business that enriches a few number of people or enriches its leaders or its pastors. Then we have the politicians that view churches as a tool to help them progress politically. Then there are those that go to church just as a place to hang out, a place to meet their friends. And then there are those who generally want to be in the presence of the Lord. I don't know where you guys are at. Sometimes I don't know where I am at. Sometimes I am at a space where I'm just like, I just want to go and hang out with my peoples, I just want to go and laugh and giggle. There are days I am just like, sometimes you can be illusioned about church. And when you hear about how sometimes pastors take advantage of their followers, and it can just be a space where you're just like, man, kwani what's happening in this space? But let me tell you, this Saturday, juicy too, I was driving on the road that is behind Uhuru Park, and I saw a group of about 20 to 30 men that were sitting under a tree in what seemed like a sermon. They had physical Bibles and they were dressed that they had actually the intention of going to church. It really shocked me. I was like, is this a church? Because they were like sitting under a tree. I was just like, is this a church? Is this like I don't know, a company that has forced its men, and they were all men, that has forced its men to have like Saturday afternoon church. I like that really just shocked me. I was just like, this is interesting that these guys actually looked like they wanted to be here. They had physical Bibles. Let me tell you, it's one thing to be in a gathering where people are speaking about the Lord and the pastor is the only one who has a physical Bible. But when all of you have physical Bibles, these people actually wanted to be here. They prepared to come. And this really challenged me. And I was just like, wow, do I look forward to go and be together with other believers in the presence of God? Is this something that actually gives me gladness and joy about going to church and just going to fellowship with other people? And even as I ask myself these questions, do ask yourself the same questions. Are you glad? Do you look forward to going to church and going to the presence of God? Not just church as in a building, but church to where you say, I want to just be in the presence of God, or I just want to be able to fellowship with other believers. Do I pray for the peace, for peace to reign in church, in the church of God? Do I pray that peace reigns? Do I pray for, other churches as well, other denominations as well? Like, am I praying that there is peace that reigns in church, as far as it's church, the church of God? Am I praying for the peace and prosperity of churches? Do I pray for my fellow believers to prosper? Am I spending time praying for my fellow believers to actually prosper? What are my feelings about church, and what is God asking me to do? In the space that I call church, especially because I feel like yesterday we were just challenged in our service to know our place as leaders of our church, and to take our place. And the way we can take our place was by giving, by representing Christ and representing our church out here, and also by serving. And serving is also one of the other things that I could do for the space that I call church. So take some time, reflect, and be intentional about praying for the peace of the church and the prosperity of those that love the Lord, and prosperity of believers. And also take your part in church. Take your part as someone who gives to the church, someone who represents Christ out here and represents Christ well, and someone who serves in church. So it's up to you now. Reflect, ask yourself those questions, and ask yourself, what is the Lord asking me to do as far as the church of God is concerned? And then be faithful enough to do that which the Lord is asking you to do. Thank you so much for listening, and see you tomorrow.